First of all, I'd like to thank for everybody being so late here. So I will go very fast because there is a lot of things to show you guys, but because of the short time, I'm just going to give you some kind of teaser, and then you can go to link to download all our research articles where you have a lot of things. So a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Macedonia, living in Amsterdam. So my co-partner or partner in crime, David Dechocha, he's not here today. He's already in another event, cybersecurity event in UK. So we've done a lot of things together. So I salute him from here. So our agenda today. So I'm going to speak about very famous and very advanced botnets that we managed to break in and to reveal what they are doing, how they are doing, and what they are stealing from the people. I'm going to speak for very famous 5-6 of them, but we have more than 20-25 research articles so far, so with more details on the internet. By end of the day, I'm going to share with you guys a link for one of the most advanced botnets that we break in, the full source code with everything inside, so you guys can play with it at home if you like, but don't do bad things. So let's start first with CryptoLocker. We all know about this, one of the first ransomwares. Back 2013. So 2014, if I'm not wrong, we managed first time to break inside of this botnet. We end up in the newspapers and stuff like that because that was the first time to reveal about what they do after they get encrypted. So after your files is encrypted, after they are asking a ransom from you, what is happening in the backend and how they prepare everything. So what we found there, it was very interesting stuff. So as you all know, nearly all ransomwares, to bypass all the cybersecurity mechanisms, they're trying just to come like a document, right? Because no one is not stupid to send you an executable file. So this one also was coming like that. So it was a macro malware, so macro document with a malware in it, and then it was dropping its files. So this is a macro string here, and the files that it was dropping here, you can also see the VS as admin to delete the shadow copies. It was really interesting that time. So inside of the botnet, so basically we hack them. Okay, so they hack our people, and then we go there and we try to hack them because that's the only way to figure out what they're doing, right? Because we have a piece of malware, we can do reverse engineering or anything, or dynamic analysis or static analysis, but still we don't know what is happening on their houses and how they prepare the stuff. So we are doing exactly that thing. We go there, we break in, and we reveal everything. So in this particular botnet, there was two main interfaces. It was an admin interface and the user interface. So basically, the admin, the guy who is preparing the campaign or attack, he is preparing the campaign very narrow and very niche, specialized attack for a specific country. And then he is just publishing his attack campaign through the user folder here. Here on the right side, you can see, they keep some kind of statistics. They have a settings HTML file, and they have a ransomware pages HTML file. So basically, this is the file where the people will going to end up at the end of the day to pay the ransom. The second thing that we found here, it was the configuration file for the specific campaign. So basically, they can choose the countries. Let's say they're going to attack Italy. They have all email, database of hacked email addresses from Italy. They have hacked POP and SMTP servers from Italy. So basically, they have everything from Italy, and they pack everything in one single attack, let's say campaign, specifically for Italy. They define the amount of the money. Of course, if they attack Switzerland, they're going to ask more money than Italy, right? They're going to define the currency, and they're going to define the HTML file that they're going to request. The second thing is they define the login credentials. They define the payment URLs, as you can see here. They have a Tor URL, and they have a multiple URLs in case of some of his drop zones get compromised or get blocked. So basically, they have a backups. But most important thing is a Bitcoin address where they're going to collect the money. So this is the configuration file for this specific botnet. He's configuring everything, he's saving everything, and then he's ready to fire. This is everything that we collected from their botnet. And here, as you can see, all these folders, 11, 12, 13, 14, this is countries. And for every single country of them, they have a mails, they have a SMTP addresses stolen, They have errors, so they check what kind of errors they receive, so next time they configure the errors and they come again with a more success rate. Here is a lot of infected machines. These are real infected machines. They have a unique, the first strings here you cannot see right now, but you can find them on internet, is the host name of the machine and then the unique ID to identify the victims. Next one, inside of this every single campaign, we found a lot of CSV files. So basically this was Italy, Netherlands, Great Britain and Spain CSV files with more than 12,000 email addresses. So they have a lot of email addresses and they select only Italian ones to have a campaign against Italy. They select only the Great Britain ones to have a campaign against the Great Britain people. So they were really, really, really good organized. Last thing that we saw here is chat logs between the victims and the bad guys. Okay, so they say, hey, you encrypted my files, I made you the payment, I don't receive my encryption keys, etc., etc. So this was also another proof for us that a lot of people who paid for our money, they didn't receive any decryption keys. So this is the chat logs from the inside. So the second botnet, you know, when you're a bad guy, you need to build a botnet, right? If you, in the old days, to create a botnet, it was really not so easy. So you need to be a really professional. You need to have your own group of people who are going to write the botnet and who are going to develop it and who are going to publish it. But these days, it's so easy. So basically, you can buy a botnet builder service from the underground. So this botnet built botnets. This is really interesting. So let me just show you how this works. So it was a King's family malware going to Zeus CNC and also a lot of man-in-the-middle browser attacks for building the blocks. It was mainly for Russian blocks, manual blocks, and stuff like that. So what was inside? This was the login page. Of course, we break inside, and what we saw here. So in this section here, we can see attack campaigns detail for each single bank. So basically here you are in the first row here in the up on the number 1, you define the bank. At the second, you define the online victims. So basically you receive a lot of infected victims. And based on their geolocation, you know that if you have Italian victims, then you're going to forward to the Italian bank. Make sense? The third one is the offline victim box. So basically you have everything what is offline and when they're going to come online to do the stuff. Next thing, here you can edit the functionality located in the first section of the building for the victims that specify bank group. So basically here you can define the comment, as you can see here. So you define the lock, you define the comment, you define what to show to them, you define what kind of error messages they're going to receive. You hide a lot of stuff from them here. So basically you hide then in the middle browser, right? You hide the button, or you hide the transaction. If you are sending to Bob to Alice, you can hide that the money is going to Bob to Alice, but actually is going to someone else. Okay? Next thing. This is the command list that you can build in your botnet. So basically you have a goal, it's allowing the victims to reach the e-bank application. So basically after you are stealing the money, you can allow the victim to reach out the banking application. You can ask questions to them. You can give them an error question, you can have a JavaScript functionality, or you can kick out from the connection. So basically this is a man-in-the-middle browser attack, basically, right? To steal their money. And you're building your own man-in-the-middle browser attack from the CNC server itself. So basically this CNC server was designed to do that. You host from them or you rent from them, probably is renting because they don't sell this kind of stuff, and then you are building your own man-in-the-middle browser attack. You build which bank you're going to attack, you select your victims, and you execute your campaign. The second, I'm losing the microphone. Battery? Okay, so the second thing here, the last thing basically, is the one-time password, right? Because the banking application, they all require second factor. So to bypass the second factor, they had also special design place where you can define how you're going to bypass the second factor. Well, the last botnet that I'm going to show you guys is all-in-one. So basically, you can build also your own APK, Android application, especially to bypass the second factor. So as you can see, this is a really, really complex and very advanced botnet here. Last there is a lot of victims. There was a 5 to 10 victims per day. Remember, these victims are specially selected victims for a specific bank, for a specific country. So it's not a random attack, right? So they receive a lot of infected machines, and then they select which victim to attack, which kind of banks. Because, I mean, if you're in Italy, of course, you're going to attack the Italian banks, but not Polish banks. So, next one. This is really cool, actually. This was 2 years ago, and it's still active. This is a specially designed, let's say, a botnet, which is attacking a QNAP NAS devices with a shell shock attack. Okay, but it's so unique that it's attacking, is taking persistency, and he's patching the vulnerability. So to avoid others to hack the same device, and then he is starting to scan other QNAP devices with the same string to hack them. So if you hack one QNAP devices, and the chain is infinite. So they are still starting to hacking other QNAP devices all the time. Let me just show you what we found here. So basically, massive shell shock vulnerability attack. They deploy the payload. They patch against the shell shock. They arm the QNAP with the DDoS attack tools. And then they deploy scanner for shell shock attack. So basically, it's infinite machine who going to act in autopilot mode. It's really cool. Let me just show you real data inside. So this is what we detect from our IDS devices. So we detect a shell shock attack, as you can see here. It's telling, okay, go to this IP address, drop a script file, and run it. Okay, here is. Then what happened? We went to that web page, we hacked that web page, and we recovered the script itself. The script itself was really interesting. The first here we can see when he is running the script with a sleep mode. The second, he is doing a persistency, so he's adding our own user to the Linux machine. And the third one, what he is doing, is actually patching the vulnerable machine. So he is the only one who owns the machine. Okay, so the bad guys are patching our NAS devices, right? Doesn't make sense. If a bad guy is doing something good, it's not for good. So he's doing this to prevent another bad guy to take over the same machine, right? And then he's running a mass scan. So he's scanning all other NAS devices, and he's hacking them again. So it's really, really clever, let's say, attack. If they success one of them, we found around 25,000 at that time. We also alerted QNAP, NAS device company, but I don't think so that they've done anything so far. So after hacking the devices, what they do is actually they are arming the device with DDoS attack. So this is a script, especially to do flooding and DDoS attacks for the specific targets. Then they install the backdoor, CGI backdoor, as you can see on the left side, and they can control the compromised device from there. And here is the scan, where they're scanning all internet for another QNAP devices, with hope that they can find something, and then they can hack in full automatic way. Let's jump to another one. How is my timing, actually? It's okay. So this is interesting. So we all are using electronic banking, right? When we send money to each other, or when we pay bills, or we will check if our salary is there, right? Believe me or not, this botnet is much better than my banking application that I'm using right now. So let me just show you. Again, indication of the compromise alert. I don't want to bother you with this. We all know this. Let's jump what we saw inside. So the first functionality of the CNC server was autopilot. Okay. Here, as you can see, we see the victims and how much money they have. And you see grabbed 4, grabbed 1, how many times they grabbed money from them. Okay? So they keep track of everything. But what's the cool thing here is that they can define a drop automatically. So you say, grab from these 5 victims $10 and send to a guy, which is in Russia or whatever it is, in this IBAN number, in this SWIFT, in this name, and split it 50-50. Okay? So the whole mechanism behind of this was so good prepared. So basically, I mean, If you want to do bad stuff, you run this, and you don't need to have any skills to hack something or to build your own botnet, right? You have it. And you don't need to go and figure out how you're going to receive the money. You define your drops here, they receive their split, you receive your money, and everything is in full autopilot mode. Here is. Next, what they do, they keep logs for error logs. So they learn from their mistakes. Again, as I told you, even my electronic banking doesn't have this kind of application where I can define to send to my friend some money and to split it 50-50, right? So, next, here is on the transfer page. They can see the successful drops. Here on the right page, you can see the drop details. You guys cannot see right now, but I can show you. Is the drop details is record memo, who is the IBAN, drop name, drop country, drop city, and then percentage of the amount. You see here how many percent the crook's going to receive, who's going to clean the money, who's going to make a money laundry, right? So you define this botnet, you configure, and then if you click the play button, what is happening? The botnet itself is sending a man-in-the-middle, is actually sending a new configuration file to the malware itself, who is doing a man-in-the-middle browser attack. So malware is stealing the money, he's sending to someone else, user doesn't know anything about what is happening in the background. Okay, so personally, when I saw this botnet, this was one of the advanced that time, I thought to myself, okay, these guys are not doing anything manually, right? Because at the beginning, maybe if you hack 5 or 10 guys, you can do this kind of stuff manually, but if you hack 10,000 or 20,000 people, you really must have some kind of engine behind to do this kind of stuff. So they build their own electronic banking application, actually. Here we can see the transfer details. So basically, they create a task, and when user comes online, when everything is ready, the man-in-the-middle browser attacks can attack, and he can steal money. So basically, what is happening is that some of the attacks can happen. They can force user to open the web browser, or they're waiting user to open his own electronic banking application and do any transfer, and they are stealing behind while the transfer is happening. So there is two ways of that. Next, botnet. So we spoke about the second factor, right? All banks have a second factor. This is how they bypass them. So basically what they're doing with the man-in-the-middle browser attack, they're showing you that like your bank is asking from you to download an Android application. Okay, so you go to your bank web page and suddenly you have a new warning saying, hey, we are your bank and we have a new second factor application. So scan this QR code with your Android phone and go and install this application. When you install this application, all the SMSs that is coming to your phone has been forwarded to this number. Okay, and this was again a real botnet with the real victims and a lot of victims here. So basically, all those people who lost the money, they had a second factor. They had a second factor, and they lost the money. Okay, so this is also really, really cool. So the last one, which is very advanced one, which I'm going to share also the source code. So I show you multiple botnets, but this one, it has all in one. So basically, it has a builder, so you can build your own botnet. You can build your own injection points, you can build your own man-in-the-middle browser, you can build your own APK application, and you can start a full-blown campaign without need of anyone else. Let me just show you what we found here. Yes, really. So this is some very classic IOC. Here we have some couple of drop zones, or let's say CNC server address, or entry points, whatever you name it. What happened in the background? We saw that this web injects is actually attacking these banks. There was a multiple of banks. We have also names here. And then in the background, as you can see, the CNC is offering a capability to upload Android malware. So basically, you are creating your own malware. So your Android malware, from where you're going to collect the SMSs. You upload your APK here, and then you generate your QR code. Okay, if you click the generate button, you're going to have your own QR code. And this APK, this fake Android application will be presented in a man-in-the-middle browser attack during the normal browsing of their banking application. So basically, you go to your banking application, you receive a same notification, you download the application, and game over. We also got the application. Here is the application. So you activate the application, everything is fine. What is happening behind? As you can see, this application requires Android receive SMSs, send SMSs, call phone, and phone state. So basically, he's against your SMS, the verification, the second factor SMS that will going to allow the money to be transferred. Next, we have the number. So this was a Krakow number. I don't know who is this guy, but so this is the SMS sender, the APK inside. So we reverse engineered also the APK itself. So we extracted, and we saw that all the SMS that is arriving to the phone is actually be forwarded to this phone number here. So here is the SMS capability. As you can see, you can define your own SMS text. So again, you can, if you attack Italians, you can write Italian. If you attack Polish people, you can write in Polish. So basically, this BotNet's is really, really powerful, where you can configure everything, okay? Here is the section for configuring. And this is the injections, okay? So basically, you can build your own man-in-the-middle browser injections in the native language of the country or of the bank, okay? So basically, you can say, if you're attacking a bank, I don't know, ABN AMRO in Netherlands, you're going to use, I don't know, UniCredit Bank in your web injects text, right? You must have unique text that will going to represent the bank itself. So you define your text here, and then you just push a button, and all the infected machines will be configured to use this man-in-the-middle browser attack. Last year, interaction with the bots, we saw a lot of infected machines, a lot of infected people, and how they interact with them. Okay, so again, this botnet here, which you guys are going to have it right now, it has a malware itself, injectors itself, APK inside, everything is inside. So basically, we call it all-in-one because it's really advanced and is a one-stop shop for stealing money from the victims. So, of course, we are not running botnets at our home, but in case you guys want to run any of these botnets, so please feel free to take a picture of this. Unfortunately, it's a red, but I hope that you guys can see it. Or let me make it white very fast. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me right now, or you can reach me out on an email. Yeah, so very fast, because as I mentioned, we have more than 25 botnets with a really, really cool data insight. We just grabbed 5 of them with very important information about them, but you still have a chance to go and to see all other botnets. So if you guys are okay with this, this is a link here again down with the red, full articles. Okay, so if you download that PDF, it has a full research article of more than 25 botnets that we made a research. Previous slide. Okay, here's the previous one. So the zip password is confidence 2018. Okay, so how is my time? It's okay. So any question, guys? Sorry being fast, but sometimes when you run, yep.
So can you provide more details? What techniques have you used to hack them?
We're using the same techniques that they are using, right? But unfortunately, we started to making them smarter. So what they do is actually, if they hack a web server, which is on the shared host, right, on VPS, and what they're doing is on one shared web server, you can have multiple virtual hosts, right? They're putting the CNC server on a plain HTML web server, right? So they hack through the PHP or WordPress, and they're not deploying the CNC server on the WordPress side, but they're deploying on the pure HTML side. And when we see a CNC server or a drop zone on pure HTML side, we say, oh, how they manage to hack a classical HTML site without any application behind or without any database. And then we figure out that they're hacking actually the whole server and they're deploying the CSS server only on the HTML applications. So we figured out how they hack the servers, okay? We first try to connect and to contact the hosting companies to take them down and stuff. And after that, we are doing a pure offensive stuff. So how they hack, we hack in the same way. We grab everything and we report. That's the only way to fight them. But as I mentioned before, they became smarter. So what they were doing, they were hacking a credit card numbers and they were pushing them to with a curl on a drop zone. We figured out how they do that, and we kill multiple drop zones, and they stopped doing that. So they put a script where they emailing real-time the hacked credit card numbers to the Gmail. Okay? Then we hacked that script and we put a CC on the bank abuse email. So everything that was hacked was going to them, and the CC was going to the bank anti-fraud section. So it's a cat and the mouse game. I have also on the research articles, you can find also that research, which is really cool. So basically, we are forcing them to change their way and to become more advanced.
Telephone number. For the second factor authentication, no? You showed a slide where all the messages were actually backed up to another number, and I suppose that number was coded inside the botnet. Okay. Is there any fallback mechanism for that in case, for example, somebody blocks that number?
No, we found just one number. As you can see, we found multiple URLs. So we found multiple URLs and multiple Tor addresses, but it was just one for SMS. You know, sometimes you think that SMS SIM card is more reliable than a web page, right? Or CNC server that can be closed anytime. So we just found one. But maybe other attacks, because come on, there is a million of attacks outside. Maybe someone is using multiple SMS numbers or mobile numbers. So any other questions? Okay. 25 minutes more. Oh my God, I'm so fast. Okay, so then what to do now? So any other question, guys? Maybe if you ask something, then maybe we can start discussion for. Yep.
There was one number. Did you try to put some fake data to poison the database?
Yeah. So basically, we done that with the drop zones. So we were pushing a lot of fake data, fake credit card numbers, fake names to fill up their drop zones. We done that in the past. Here in this scenario with SMS, we didn't do that because we didn't want to make him aware that we know about him because we inform him. But again, for a classic drop zones, that's one way of sending a lot of fake information. That time I used to work in Italy, so with a corporation with the large banks, and they was giving us a lot of random credit card numbers that doesn't exist, and we were pushing a lot of them to their drop zones to make them, you know, hard to eliminate what is fake and what is real. But that's one way of the fighting them back. So I'm so fast. 10 minutes. Okay, so last 10 minutes, guys. Any other questions?
Still misconfigured, right? Or there was some vulnerability?
So again, sometimes the web server, where they put the CNC server, is vulnerable, but in a lot of cases we found a vulnerability in their own CNC server, right? So when you find a vulnerability on their CNC application, and then it's more easy for you, right? If you want to find a SQL inject or any directory travel state or any privacy or whatever you're going to find there on a web application, will give you a more, let's say, fast and flexible response. When they're going to put a website, CNC server, you take down because you know that, right? But by doing that 5 times, they're going to patch it. So it's really, you know, sometimes we are thinking to do that or not. Because if they know that we take them down because of their mistake, they're going to fix their mistakes, and then we are blind. We cannot see them anymore. So both of them. Sometimes web application itself, CNC server, sometimes vulnerabilities on the web server, sometimes misconfiguration. Sometimes they left a lot of backups. So they left a zip file when they extract the CNC server. 80% of the time they do that, so remember. So just go with a dir buster and just enumerate everything what is inside of the CNC server. You're going to find a lot of things what can be helpful. Any other questions? Yep.
And were the APK files used for 2FA bypass were correctly signed, or you had to just, you know, click in the Android security settings to bypass the correct, you know, certificate?
The first botnet didn't have any certificate inside, but the second one was also signed. So the second one's the most advanced one. He has a stolen certificate probably. I don't know if Google the dev account they revoked the certificate or not, but that was signed one. That's it. You guys should put a counter here so I can know my time. Okay, guys, thanks for coming. Sorry for being fast.